Welcome back to Muni Mayhem. I'm Ultra Vox, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil is just around the corner. Being about 2 weeks away from the final season of this fantastic series, both Disney Channel and Disney XD have began to rev up promotion, both releasing their own distinct trailers gem-packed with new footage. Now, all this footage is intense, and I get the vibe most, if not all this footage stems from those first 8 episodes that are all airing in March. If that's the case, then the first third of the season alone is shaping up to be pure insanity. Not to mention the animation seems to be the best it's ever been, more fluid and detailed than before. And I'm not just saying that because both promos have a filter slapped over it. The team behind the series didn't know going into this 4th season that it would be the last, so they probably figured, why not go all out? Well, consider this as all out as can be. Now, there are some recycled clips that were featured in the Japan promo for the season, and the 2 Comic-Con sneak peeks we received last year, so we're primarily going to be focused on the new stuff. You can go and watch those other breakdowns if you haven't yet afterwards to catch up or have a refresher. Of course, spoiler warning, click off now if you want to know as little as possible about these episodes, aside from the conjecture in the title and thumbnail. And let's start with the Disney Channel promo, but bring in the Disney XD one if it builds off of the aforementioned.
Today's gonna be perfect.
Star vs. the Forces of Evil is coming to Disney Channel
For its final season!
We open with Star and Marco feasting on very appealing stacks of flapjacks. Marco remarking, "Today's going to be perfect." Star's outfit appears to be new, but very similar to the one introduced in 3rd season, which will be important for piecing together scenes within these 2 promos. The 2 are also back on Earth, on the Diaz living room couch, as we can not only identify from the furniture itself, but the painting mounted behind the 2. So I don't believe this is in Marco's perfectly replicated room on Muni, where Star could have possibly gave the inclusion of his former couch to. With Marco Jr. on the way, and Marco's guilt over being out of the loop with his family, it makes sense him and Star would frequent his own dimension a bit more often. Plus, I wouldn't be surprised if the show's crew began to miss Earth, after being detached from the setting and its characters for an entire season. This could be from the episode Curse of the Blood Moon, as the conclusion of the Disney XD promo has Star, in the same attire of this promo's opening scene, eating at a venue with Marco. Judging by the atmosphere and decorations that surround them, such as the lights or skeleton attached to the clock, this could be somewhere in the underworld, where the Blood Moon Ball took place. Alternatively, the only other place I could think of is the Monster Temple. Regardless, this imagery absolutely radiates romantic energy. Whether or not they're on a date is left up to interpretation. But how often do you see platonic friends at a candlelit dinner? Now, their demeanor does tell a different story. They seem to be relaxed and not raging with the fire of 1,000 suns. But by that same token, Star and Marco are best friends and have been for a long time, with or without romantic feelings, so I don't think the way they interact on a surface level would shift too much in a romantic setting. Tying back into Marco's sentiment of this being the perfect day, it adds up we're getting a glimpse into the episode that will explore the circumstances around Star and Marco's relationship, and if it'll advance romantically. Let's put all the relationship drama on hold for a brief moment as we move on to something that very much had me screaming at my phone and dancing around my girlfriend's apartment. The return of Ludo. In a look that serves as an amalgamation between his appearance in Season 1 and Season 2, he's still rocking the beard, but has returned to his mossy green cloak and sporting the skull of a creature like a crown. Of course, Ludo wouldn't be truly complete without his staff. If we recall in the episode Ludo, Where Are Thou?, his younger brother, Dennis, brought him the crown alongside Bird, but Ludo quickly disposed of it. Yet, the episode's conclusion had Ludo wear the skull, as we learned he keeps dummies of Star and Marco in his closet, implying he may not have given up his evil ways just yet. Speaking of Bird, we see Ludo on top of her once more, as if he just made a dramatic entrance. But where? At first, I was thinking it could be somewhere in Muni Castle, as it has similar textures to its dungeon and underground quarters. But after inspecting the design of the window and the color of its sky, I think our best bet would be the Monster Temple. It does tend to have a green tinted sky, as opposed to the peach cream gradient throughout most of Muni, yet the episode Book Begone shows it can share the same color of normal Muni skies as well. Once more jumping around to the Disney XD promo, there's a shot of Ludo in the same peach cream sky in the process of dramatically putting on the skull, and later in the same sequence as the Disney Channel promo, pointing his staff left at an unidentified presence, which we can assume to be Star and Marco. Actually, if we jump ahead, back in the Disney Channel promo, 3 former members of Ludo's army, Man-Arm, Berrycorn, and Giraffe Monster, are seen with pretty excited look on their faces, the latter 2 jumping up and down, holding hands in celebration. Considering the debris behind them appear to have the same texture as Ludo's location and a similar color scheme for the backdrop, I think Ludo has reclaimed authority over some of his soldiers. Keep in mind these 3 weren't present when Bullfrog and the other monsters left Muni, unlike some of Ludo's other retired minions. Ludo's intentions may not be abundantly clear from these 2 promos, but I have a good idea I'd love to elaborate on at another point in time. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for when the time comes. All that we have assurance on is that this time, he's going to be a much more competent leader. There's a shrieking unnamed character whom I believe is a demon resident of the underworld, judging by his tail, horns, wing, and yellow eyes. Although his location is hard to determine, cranking up the brightness all the way tells us this takes place in some sort of cave. Star also belts out a scream, although her expression makes it seem as if it's one purely out of excitement and impersonation, as opposed to being alarmed, as if she's going along with someone else making the exact same expression and noise. Although it does startle Tom, who's wearing a light blue cold as ice shirt. Judging by the background, they're at Lava Lake Beach, so the safe bet is that this is from the episode Lake House. Actually, in the Disney XD promo, Star seems to drop a magical barrier in an incredibly detailed shot, sprawled out on the ground protecting Tom, both of them wearing their same outfits, so it's from the same episode. Though in contrast, the detailed imagery makes me think this is a very serious moment. Perhaps Tom does something reckless in an attempt to hold on to his relationship with Star that sets off a chain reaction where she has to rescue him, and ultimately may have to break things off. I personally don't want Star and Tom to split just yet, but you might as well rip the bandage off while you can. The consecutive yelling rounds out with Ludo, in his Bon Bon the Birthday Clown disguise, free-falling into a vast void of space. I have a hunch this isn't an actual event that transpires in real time, but rather a dream sequence that lays the groundwork for Ludo's arc in the season. What we're seeing at this moment could be his dream relaying the feeling of being a fool, a clown, a pawn in Toffee's scheme, using Ludo's Bon Bon outfit as a reminder that he only sought after Star's spellbook in that episode to unknowingly follow Toffee's orders. Ludo lost sight of himself and put so much time, effort, and energy into a plan that wasn't even his own. He still feels played even after a significant amount of time has passed. Remember, Glossaryx said at the end of Conquer, he was trying to tell Star about Globgor for months. By the time Glossaryx's physical form was restored, almost the entirety of summer had passed, and Marco returned home. The battle for Muni arc occurring in the beginning of summer, so Ludo was in the void, fighting himself and ultimately still feeling cheated after over potentially 6 months. Which, to be fair, isn't that much time to get over such a traumatic turn of events.
In a universe full of monsters, humans, and Marcos.
Moving on, Star casts a powerful, seemingly electric spell that forces a crowd of bakers to clear a path for their own safety. We saw a glimpse of this in the Japan promo and concluded it was from the episode Escape the Pie Folk, though we lacked a title at the time, but here we know for sure. Notice how many of them sport eye patches, just like the man who uppercuts a pie from Star and Moon's grip, and River, who either has to blend in or his own eye got temporarily damaged from something in the bakery. The Disney XD promo goes as far to showcase a string of miscellaneous clips of Star that, when combined together, say, "Give me my mom," the last of which is a continuation of the scene here. Moon is definitely at this location. Given the Japan promo and the episode synopsis, Star's search for her mom takes her to the home of the Pie Folk, where she must outwit them in order to reunite her family. Star is at her wit's end, out of patience and ready to resort to physical violence as a way to retrieve her mother from the clutches of the Pie Folk. It appears she's not above anything in this moment. Briefly, let's shine some light on that white monkey here. In the Japan promo, I didn't recognize him, but from the comments section and rewatching Battle for Muni, I remember that he is indeed Fool Duke's monkey. Pointing finger guns at what could be Marco, his location appears to be somewhere on Earth or Muni, judging by the water and pier. We can rule out Lava Lake Beach, however, as the name implies, its lake is full of lava, not actual water. River finds himself caught in the mayhem Graham, a barfing reptilian creatures who chase him around in a forested area as a confused, eye-twitching Moon stands motionless. Primarily a comedic moment, the substance here comes from a technical standpoint. This snippet is animated by Rough Draft Korea, as opposed to Sugar Cube, who seems to animate Escape from the Pie Folk, so I'm leaning on this being from the episode Moon Remembers. Now, Moon is standing in front of a large, decorated tent, which may be her new place of residence as Eclipsa once again rules Muni, and thus has control of the castle, even if she is spending a bulk of her time at the Monster Temple. Next up, adult Marco returns! Leaping into action with his sword El Chapo in hand, he's followed by 6 ghosts. I'm betting on this taking place in the episode Ransom Graham, as the following shot features Shanna in what appears to be Quest by introducing a herd of Marco replicas spawning behind her in a puff of smoke. The clones all chant in unison, "I am Orkram," which is an anagram for Marco, backwards. Ransom Graham, anagram, both scenes animated by Rough Draft. The large number of Marcos potentially being used to combat the amount of ghosts present makes sense to me. Now there's a bit more to this, but it's mainly contained in the Disney XD promo, and we've already crossed streams enough times already. I don't want to bleed everything out of its own segment just yet, so we'll revisit all of this in a second.
There's only one Princess of Muni, Star Butterfly.
Star, holding her hand and wincing in pain, seems to be holding back tears. My guess is that she's bitten by Meteora, just as Marco is later in the promo. But let's observe this environment. I do want to wager this is in the Monster Temple, judging by the blue flames illuminating the environment, as seen in episodes such as The Hard Way, the sword planted into a pile, and the skeleton on top of a lamp, but this also means the Monster Temple has similar decorations to the place Star and Marco have what could be their date. Maybe this is just a meal to pat themselves on the back for babysitting Meteora, or Eclipsa sets them up for a romantic candlelit dinner in the Monster Temple in Curse of the Blood Moon, so they have some time alone. Star's outfit in this shot is different from the other two with similar backgrounds, so I'm betting on this being a separate episode. Star summons a Warnercorn with Moon holding on, but what's interesting is that Moon is once again in her queen garments. The episode this is from is very unclear. I don't believe it's Escape from the Pie Folk, or Moon Remembers for that matter, but Moon wearing this dress is very telling. Keep this scene in mind is all I'm saying. Star, in an outfit I don't believe we've ever seen before, transforms into her golden puberty state midair. This feels like it's lifted from a dramatic sequence, so the stakes surrounding it must be higher than usual to warrant a higher level of detail. Last but not least, as we touched on, Meteora completely engulfs Marco's hand into her mouth, with a spoon and liquid texture stuck to Marco's head. We can deduce he tried to feed Meteora, and she was just not having it. This is a perfect interaction considering the track record between Meteora and Marco, but this truly writes itself. It appears that Marco and Star, more so Marco, is actually babysitting Meteora while Eclipsa is off for a specific task. This was something a few of you suggested in the comments of our Japan breakdown, so let's hear it for our insightful viewers. You guys rock! The biggest takeaway with this scene is Star's outfit in particular when she responds to Marco's cry. Mistaking him for Eclipsa, she returned to the room in her princess outfit, found in episodes such as Independence Day, Face the Music, and Monster Bash. So alongside Moon in her queen attire, it seems as if Star will regain her princess status sooner than later in the season. Star also remarks that she's busy and shuts the door on Marco's face, indicating she is attending important matters, while Marco entertains and looks after Meteora. This could be from the episode Surviving the Spider Bites, as many of you in the comments of my episode title speculation suggested this episode likely has to do with the Spider Bite Kingdom and the consequences of Eclipsa leaving their royalty, King Shastakan, for a monster. Eclipsa, Star, and maybe even Moon working together to repair the relationship between Eclipsa and their kingdom. But wrapping that up, let's move on to the Disney XD promo, which shares a lot of the same footage, but offers just as much insight and tidbits at what could happen.
Let's ride.
Back at what we're going to say is the episode Ransom Graham, Marco gives Nachos the Dragon Cycle a peck on the cheek, Star leaping on top as Marco states, "Let's ride." Judging by the cleaved chains and Marco's kiss to Nachos implying a reunion, along the lines of, "I'm so glad you're okay," I'm assuming the ransom in Ransom Graham was for Nachos. The beloved Dragon Cycle was stolen, kidnapped, and held for a price. we're seeing Marco retrieve his prized possession and make a daring escape. Yet, it won't be easy. Putting together a few other clips sprinkled throughout this promo, a battle-damaged Star leaps into air with a dose of magic, El Chapo in hand. A warrior wearing a similar outfit to Giraffe Monster spins an axe, likely ready for combat in the same Arctic location that Marco retrieves nachos from, and that forces Star to bundle up for the climate. This warrior definitely has a role in kidnapping nachos, but because of her attire's resemblance to Giraffe Monster, namely the skull, I'm calling that this kidnapping was orchestrated by Ludo himself, either hitting Marco where it hurts for whatever reason, or considering it's a ransom, seeking out to obtain something from Star for his own benefit. This battle also seems to include the warrior transforming a polar bear-like animal with horns, likely native to the environment, into what could be some sort of elemental being, similar to the flaming warthog we see later in the same location, or they're teleporting out of this place altogether. We also have Star fawning over adult Marco's abs once more, as she did in the episode Running with Scissors when initially encountering adult Marco. And she shields some of her own body against the flaming warthog. We can tell by the light of the fire being reflected on Marco's shading. Man, Ransom Graham is going to be one heck of an episode.
Monkey? Eclipsa! Help me! I'm busy! Yes, ma'am! New episodes on demand in the Disney Now app and on Disney XD.
River bites a drumstick in the outdoors of Muni, but the sign above his head reveals that they're at a pie carnival. This is absolutely in the episode Butterfly Follies, moments before the play, which also involved pies. And as you could probably guess, we'll clue Star, Marco, and River on where to find Moon. Eclipsa seems to cast a spell that either produces or levitates a pile of flowers in the monster temple. I think this is just her making the place a bit more homey, as these flowers appear to be the same found in Muni Castle's garden. We know Eclipsa is very fond of this garden and its flowers from Stranger Danger. And there are pots mounted on the wall behind her in the shot, so it checks out. Yes, Eclipsa, live your best life. You deserve it after being crystallized, put on trial, and almost having to murder your own flesh and blood. Yikes, they really put her through the ringer, huh? Alright, I truly have no comment on Marco and Full Duke's monkey, other than LOL. But this seems to be one of those usual silly moments stuffed into a dramatic promo for comedic relief. So I'm not going to pay much attention to it, unfortunately, but I'm sure it'll be hilarious when the actual episode rolls around. Star always makes me laugh. Now things really heat up. Rhombulus seems to forcibly pull his snake hands apart after they were bound together by a spell. Considering later we see Eclipsa preparing a spell with the same purple glow around her wand and fresh crystals behind her in Rhombulus' same location, the monster temple, we can read the room and infer they've gotten into an altercation over releasing Globgore. I believe Eclipsa is close to cracking the spell that will liberate her monster love, as the shot featured in the Japan promo of her levitating into the air returns, but the magical high commission swoops in to put a stop to it. Eclipsa won't stand for it, feeling the commission has done enough damage with the Meteor fiasco. Fed up with their meddling and jumping to conclusions, she finally strikes back against them. For this to happen, and the narrative's tendency for us to side with Eclipsa in practically every conflict she's found herself in, I think this is the moment where everything will reach the breaking point, and he'll be freed from his forced slumber, and I can't wait. Moon gasps at the sight of something shocking, and once again, look at that outfit. This is from Moon Remembers. Adjusting the brightness of the scene will reveal that she's in what Star refers to as the Grandma Room in Muni Castle. Eclipsa's unharmed tapestry off to the side of the wall. With no natural light source present in the room, the glow reflecting onto Moon's face is very telling. I'm not quite convinced this is just her tapestry, and the glow is emitting from its stone encryption, but rather, Moon has found something unsettling that triggers a memory previously hidden from her. Hence the name of the episode, Moon Remembers. Marco fights some pie folk, Star fires a crystal cupcake blast in the ponyhead's mouth, who's wearing makeup and jewelry, so factoring that in with the studio lights and equipment behind the two, this is most definitely from the Ponyhead show. And Star and Marco are dancing underneath the blood moon? Moon? It's important to note that this appears to be entirely new animation, despite Star and Marco in their outfits from the Blood Moon Ball. This is absolutely from the episode Curse of the Blood Moon. Many fans speculate this is either a flashback to the original episode, an event, or a reenactment. I have my own idea, but let's save that for another time. Reaching the end of this promo and our breakdown, Marco and Kelly, the latter who has returned to hiding her face under her hair, seems to be kicking major butt as they synchronize an attack on an old defenseless lady, also kicking two fuzzballs while a Korean phrase pops up behind them. Now, all of these three species, the latter two actually visually sprawling into combat, seem to be from the same race as Kelly herself, if not her own family. This is definitely from the episode Kelly's World, meaning we get to see her home dimension and possibly her family. Perhaps her need to hide her face and assaulting these people have to do with why she hid her face in her earlier appearances. Oppression? Abusive family? Something weird and zany we won't understand until the episode airs? All possible candidates, so let's shift gears as we sprint towards the finish line. A Narwhal Blast seems to attack something. I don't know about you guys, but I see Boo Fly, which makes me believe this once again ties into Ludo and reclaiming his army. Star and Eclipsa travel to the Bureaucracy of Magic, potentially to report Rhombulus or seek answers on liberating Globgor, which leads to the aforementioned battle. But Star seems to be disinterested and sucked into her phone. Maybe she's dealing with relationship drama between Marco and Tom, or she just got bored of waiting for assistance, which they finally got in the form of an off-guard Sean. Last but not least, we have Star preparing another dose of hand magic and a threatening demeanor. I believe this is from the Butterfly Follies, when she's going around zapping folks in urgency to find her mother. Oh Star, don't you know love is the answer?
Love is never the answer.
Oh, I stand corrected. And there you have it, a frame-by-frame analysis of these two amazing new promos that has me more excited than ever for the new and final season. I'm so anxious for what's going to happen. Why is Nachos being held for ransom? Why are they revisiting the Blood Moon? Is Globgor going to finally reawaken? Where's Glossaric in all of this? What do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for my own hot takes, you can find me at UltraVox. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us on Patreon. Seriously, we're really trying to grow this brand, hire more people, and do amazing things. Please consider supporting us. Link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, throw it a like, and subscribe to the Roundtable so you never miss any great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. UltraVox, out. Star, be gentle with Tom's heart. He's fragile.